The MyoPlus 4 is supplied with a hard carry case, operating instructions and a guide to the protocols loaded in the device, a USB Bluetooth wireless connector so the device can be connected to computers, self-adhesive electrodes for sticking to the patient connection wise, a reference electrode for the EMG, and then the MyoPlus 4 has 4 leads each for one of the channels on the device, where the MyoPlus 2 would only be supplied with 2 leads. The MyoPlus 4 Pro and the MyoPlus 2 Pro are very similar machines. The difference being the MyoPlus 4 has 4 channels of stim and the MyoPlus 2 just has 2 channels of stim. The MyoPlus unit has a protective rubber case, so when it is being carried around or clipped onto a belt on a user, it protects from damage. The cover just pops off. Behind the cover is where the batteries are located, inside there, and it pops simply back in the cover like that. The unit has at the top the output connectors, so we have channel 1, channel 2, channel 3 and channel 4 on the MyoPlus 4. On the MyoPlus 2 you would only have channels 1 and 2, and then both units will have the reference electrode, which is like the neutral, so the machine knows what it is referencing against. So the MyoPlus 4 Pro has a set of buttons at the bottom that will increase and decrease the intensity of the stimulation on each channel individually. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. In the centre we have the main on-off button. We have a home button that will take you back home, a back button, start button, and then up and down buttons for the threshold on the EMG stim. So they are the controls on the machine. This is the home screen, and on the home screen the top 3 buttons are linked to preset programs within the machine. The first button links to women's health, and this will give you a choice then of preset programs that will start automatically pre-programmed in the machine. Back button is in the top left. The same goes for the second button, which is for sports muscle stimulation, and again each of these is preset, ready for you to use. Shows down the left hand side the sequence of programs that's going to be applied. The last button is rehab, and then that you can select from all different types of rehab programs, and the machine will run up and down through those. The next row is a range of TENS, neuromuscular stimulation and functional electrical stim, and these are programs that you can set yourself. So currently all the TENS programs are worded TENS, but if you hold the button down you can actually then go and change the name of that program to whatever you require it to be. Once you have set up the program, you can change all the variables within here, and we can set anything you want it to work to, and then you'll be able to save that as being your own preset program for TENS. You can do the same for neuromuscular stimulation. Go in and you can set all the parameters variable for that program, and again save that to a name program yourself. And the last one, exactly the same, functional stim using EMG, and this is where you can set your parameters again to have your own programs loaded. Right hand side always shows you what you last used, and there's an easy access point to go back to what you were last using. Along the bottom we have EMG, where you can now go in and use pure EMG, an open display, which just means it's continually running and you're recording the biofeedback that's happening within the device. You can use a work and rest pattern where the patient has to contract, rest, and record the outcomes of those functions. Templates, you can use the preset templates or you can custom build your own for patients to use work rest cycles. And then games, there's different games that allow the user to have more interaction with the device. So when they're resting, they're going downhill. Now they have to work, contract. So if they contracted, the bunny would move up the hill. Plane is another game where you have to maintain the aeroplane in flight by contracting and resting. And ETS is EMG triggered stim. Basically the patient will have to contract, which will cause the marker to go up, and once they reach the threshold you have actually set, they will get the stimulation come through on the same set of electrodes, so that they have to get assistance in getting the electrical contraction. It's where you can go and change all your settings for the device, so things like brightness. We can adjust the brightness up and down. We can change the languages, can check the device connections, and a little bit more about the unit and reset it. You can also lock the device from here so that the patients can only use the machines in the preset programs you've set them up for. So I've now connected this device up in EMG, and we're just going to open display. So we're now going to monitor the EMG activity on my forearm. The reference electrode is connected here, and ideally needs to be in an area like over a bony process where there's not much electrical activity. The two electrodes that are going to pick up the activity are placed over the area you want to focus on. So if I keep still, we can see on channel 1, the red channel, that there is a small amount of activity delivering below 5 microvolts of activity. If I start to contract, you can see the activity increase and go right up off the scale. If I relax back down, it will drop off. So I can now go and adjust the threshold manually, and I want the activity currently to be above, but I could change that to be below or continuous or off altogether. So if I leave it on above and continue, I can actually also go in and change 2 filters. This filters out any activity on the channels if you're using it anywhere around the torso, so it doesn't pick up cardiac activity. So at the moment, using it on a limb, it's fine to use it on a wide filter, but we can switch that to narrow if we're going to be using it more towards the cardiac region, such as using it on shoulder rehab. Going to go back to the global settings, and now I contract and rest. Contract, rest. I can change the type of display, so it's now just a bar graph. And this is more useful if you were using both channels that you can compare directly one channel to the other in the activity going on. And you can see the reading there. That's now me going into extension, now resting. Extension, rest. Extension, rest. In the work and rest, we can set up our own programs, but if I show you an example in the templates, these are pre-made templates, and the idea here is you need to maintain the activity within the yellow. So I now have to contract, rest. Contract, rest. So you see I'm not very good at it. Contract, rest. We're now going to show the games. If I go to bunny game, start the game. So I'm going down here when I have to rest, and now I have to contract. And as long as I contract above the threshold, I get to the top of the hill. Now I rest, contract, rest. Get the carrot, contract, rest, contract, rest. So you can set a higher level and lower level for the rabbit, so we can define how many times the rabbit has to go up and down, the upper threshold and the lower threshold, how long a work cycle is, how long a rest cycle is, and how long to release. So it's fully variable. Preset programs for muscle stimulation. If we select one of these, sport, and then say we select endurance, what it's selecting for endurance is continuous output, then a modulated output, then another modulated, and then another modulated. So it's a sequence of 4 different types of current. If I'm happy to proceed, all I now do is turn up the intensity to start off the program. You can see the treatment time counting down. So it's going to do 5 minutes of continuous. And as I turn up the intensity, you can see the level going up here, and I can just start to feel the activity, and there you can see the actual contraction happening within my hand and my arm. ETS, which is EMG triggered stim. So we have one channel connected to me, and if I contract, you can see I can get above the line and I can relax. If I now increase the intensity, I can set my threshold of my contraction. So I can now see the contraction. So I'm going to rest. And I'm going to contract, and once I hit the threshold, I can feel the stim kicking in. If I relax, now if I don't contract, I won't get the stim, which is the blue segment. I'm not contracting, so I won't get rewarded with the additional stim to help me contract. So if I now contract, as soon as I contract, I actually get the additional muscle stim to help me, and you can see it on the screen, and I rest as the current drops off. Again, contract, and I get the electrical stim that helps the muscle contract.